Today's podcast was a good one. I had some notes that I had written down. I kind of stuck to them a little bit, but really dove into like what's going on in this crazy world, specifically with COVID and how people are acting irrational. Gave my take on COVID, nothing political and things like that, but really helping you understand and taking a step back and learning from this and utilizing the tools in one of my favorite books of all time, The Laws of Human Nature, which can really help you understand why people do the things they do and how it can affect you and how it can affect them. So this episode was more of just a easy way for me to kind of put some thoughts out there. And like I said, I don't get ranty or political on anything like this. I think there's some crazy shit going on with COVID, what's going on with everything like that. But we should always be able to take a step back and do what I call that 30,000 foot view to really get an idea of what's going on so that we can learn from it and be put in a much better position going forward. So I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Soft Tissue Revolution podcast. Dr. Matt Maggio here. Thanks for stopping by. As I said in the intro today, this might be one of those topics that you might think might be controversial or like political or a little bit ranty, and it's not. I do a lot of studying on the idea of like human nature. I'm like a huge psychology nerd. I actually have an undergraduate degree in psychology. I didn't appreciate it as much as when I was in school before I went to grad school, but going back there and looking at it, I've become like a student of understanding human nature and why we do the things we do, why we act the way we do, and all sorts of things. And it's really helped me take a better, like I call it like a 30,000 foot view about like what's going on in the world, what's going on in healthcare, what's going on in medicine, and what's going on with people, because there's a lot of crazy shit going on right now. So as the title of the podcast was Masks, Vaccines, and Personal Responsibility. And once again, this is nothing to do with politics across the board. It is a damn shame that COVID has been used by both sides on politics throughout this, but I really don't follow any side. I'm not on the right. I'm not on the left. I'm just in the middle. I'm just like, hey, let me do what I need to do. Let me take care of my business. Let me take care of my family. Let me be a good person. Let me contribute to society and just leave me the fuck alone. That's where I stand on political sides of that. But it's just been kind of interesting where it is. And this isn't about the politics side of this. So my quick take on COVID. Yes, I think COVID is a big problem. Yes, people should worry about it in some context as well. The other thing too is that the data they're just showing is that it is not a deadly disease for people that are healthy, people that take care of themselves, and all these crazy lockdowns and things we've done just aren't based off of data. Unfortunately, we don't look at data a lot as humans when we're making decisions. We think in a very short term, very irrational type of thing. And as I talked about the psychology that I train in, I've read, I think I'm on like the 20th time through it. The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. I talk about this all the time. If you haven't checked out that book, check it out. It will help you just navigate and understand what's really going on in this crazy world and get some insights of why people do and act the way that they do. I'm always just seeking to learn from whatever, good, bad, neutral, across the board, and really evaluating in the situation. And I've had some time to kind of sit back and stay on the sidelines for COVID and what it's done and seeing what it's exposed. And one thing that I've seen is just a lot of fear and a lot of irrationality. And it's totally understandable because COVID is bringing three problems out to the surface. One is just our own mortality. People forget the fact that they're all going to die. You're going to die, I'm going to die, everyone's going to die. And that's not a morbid thing. That's just a fact of reality. And so when something challenges that and challenges that fear base in us, it can really trigger some really fearful emotions and some irrationality. And you're seeing this with people where they freak the fuck out. Another one is it's exposing people's businesses and their livelihood. That's their money. That's how they feed their families. And that's where I get really upset about COVID is because It's taking away people's ability to earn a living, to help people, to do things. And I've talked about this before, like when the massage industry basically got shut down for not being essential. It's your own damn fault. It's the industry's own fault because there wasn't good leaders in there. There weren't people actually stepping up and showing that massage is essential when you're doing it the right way, when you're fixing people, you're solving problems, you're getting people out of pain. The problem is you got too many of them foo-foo people out there that are crystals and relaxation and all this stuff. That isn't happening. So you got typecasted together. So that's a really good podcast to go back and listen to, like why massage was deemed unessential, and it shouldn't be, but that can change going forward. So what do we got so far? People's fear of death, their inability to make money, and lastly, health. It brought health front and center. And we're not healthy as Americans. I heard a really good analogy of what's going on with COVID. So the idea behind COVID is that, say we're like a boxer and we hadn't trained for a fight. We're out of shape. We're not ready. We get in the ring. We're getting our ass kicked. We're getting our ass beat by COVID because we're not unhealthy. We're fat. We're depressed. We take more drugs. We drink more alcohol. We don't exercise. We don't move. And then we sit here and be like, oh, what happened? This sucks. Like, what do you expect to happen? Like, and this is what I'm seeing. A lot of the people that have these fear responses from COVID where they're freaking the fuck out is because they didn't take care of themselves. So what can you learn from this? You can learn that people are so short-sighted, and you can learn this with your own clients and your own patients, that they're not going to take anything seriously. And they want the quick fix. They want the miracle cure that doesn't exist. And when they're not participating in care, they're not participating in treatment, and then you find yourself frustrated because it's like you want it more than the client does, and you can never want it more than the client does. Once you start doing that, it's done. But it makes sense. Look at what's going on with COVID. People are in complete fucking denial about what's going on with their health, what's going on just with anything, and they want to buy into that fear. So what does masks do? What does vaccines do? They don't require the person to take any action. So it's like, okay, well, I can put this mask on, or I can take this vaccine, and I don't need to change anything. I don't need to be healthy. I can be a fat fuck that smokes and drinks, doesn't exercise, doesn't take care of themselves. And that might seem harsh when I say that. I'd be like, oh, well, obesity and people unhealthy, like, fat shaming and all that. Listen, this is coming from a guy speaking to you right now that used to be almost 100 pounds heavier than he was right now. Someone that was depressed, drank all the time, did drugs, got so bad that he was even suicidal because I didn't take care of my health. And you know what? If I was like that right now, I'd be scared shitless about COVID. But I'm not, because I took my health and I made it my responsibility. And sooner or later, your health is going to become your number one priority, like it or not. So there's always something to learn. And I'm learning about this in seeing how people react. And I've seen this over the years in my own soft tissue practices and clinics, that people are short-sighted. You get these people that come in, they're like, one visit and you didn't miraculously fix a 10-year-old problem and you're no good. That's how people are. They're short-sighted, but they'll go to the stem cell doctor and give them 10 grand for some bullshit that isn't even going to fix anything because they promised them that it would fix and they don't have to do anything. If the treatment does not require you to participate, it doesn't have a time component associated with it, and you actually take some action, it's not going to work. But that's what happens, is people don't want to participate, and they don't want to participate in their health either. That's what you're seeing with COVID. I'm going to put a mask on. I'm going to get this vaccine that probably could just cause more problems, but it doesn't require me to have a deep introspection about what's going on with my own health, because people don't want to live in reality. They want to live in fantasy world. If you know you're fat, you know you're out of shape, you know you're smoking, don't do that shit. But don't sit there and shame the other people out there that want to stay open. They want to open their business. They want to be healthy. They want to exercise because they want to take care of themselves. But then you sit there and shame and be like, you're not wearing a mask and you don't care about me. It's like, actually, you don't care about yourself. Look at you. Look at you, you fat slob. And this, once again, this can be very harsh to hear, but someone's got to stand up and say something like, this shit's got to stop. You have to take care of your body. And the clients aren't doing that either. And it goes into how you present your care, how you do your treatments, because people are going to be like this. So I have a couple take homes here. I tried to take notes here so I didn't get too ranty, but at the end of the day, here's a couple take homes. People are short-sighted and unrealistic about their current health. I just said that. We pride people that are obese and we say, you're beautiful the way you are. It's like, no, you're unhealthy. And I know that because I used to be unhealthy myself. The other problem that we run into is our healthcare system is far too symptom focused instead of functional based. It's like, I'll do anything to get out of pain right now, and I don't care about the long-term effects. And that's what we're seeing is like people are like, oh, I'll take this vaccine right now to potentially not get COVID, even though it hasn't been tested, it hasn't been tried. We don't know what it's going to do, and it could fuck them up down the road. People are unwilling to wait for things to happen. Another thing that we start to see is when we're presenting to people how we are going to be able to help them with our treatments and things like that, we tend to focus way more on the features of the product. Like I'm a blah, 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 and I've taken level 12 Jedi Master of soft tissue, and this is how I'm going to fix it and how I'm going to do it. At the end of the day, people really care about benefits. It's like, what are you going to do? What is your treatment going to do? Hey, if I can get your shoulder healthy, you can get back to the gym, you can be out of pain, you can feel better, you can function better, you can do all these things, you can get your life back. At the end of the day, we're so bad as soft tissue practitioners because we're so logical and we're so in our own heads that we want to just highlight all the features of our product instead of the real benefits. Because at the end of the day, people want to just get better. They want it to be done as quick as possible, and that's what you have to do in understanding that. I might have sounded like I went off on a tangent there. I'm probably going to make a whole podcast about marketing and the features and the benefits there. And lastly, well, not lastly, I have one after that. Understanding that you must get people to be accountable for their treatment and not short-sighted. And that's what you can learn from COVID and everything else like that. People want that quick fix. They want that. And what you have to learn, and I teach this all the time in the people that we train, is getting them to be accountable. And how do you get them to be accountable? You have them pay for all their treatments up front. And the way we coach and train practitioners are, you start with at least 10 to 12 treatments paid for up front. Because in all honesty, if someone's just coming in and they're trying to do one or two, they're not going to get fixed. They're not going to let you do your thing, and it's going to be more of a headache. So you want to make sure you get people held accountable up front, and you get that by having them pay for all their treatments up front. If you need help with that, I got some older podcasts where I talk about how to get the client to actually commit to the care. Because when you can do it the right way, you're going to actually fix people, and you're going to help with all this other short-sighted bullshit where the client is so symptom-based. They're like, I didn't feel better after the first one. This isn't working. I'm going to go somewhere else. This allows you time to functionally improve them, because if you improve the function, the symptoms will improve long-term, but you need some time, and this will help you across the board. And personal trainers do it all the time. They make people pay for all their stuff up front so they stay accountable. Why can't we do that as soft tissue practitioners that are actually fixing people? And lastly, you just got to figure out the difference between empathy and sympathy. Once again, empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is where you just kind of like feel bad for that person. Like, oh, woe is me. Oh, I feel bad for them because they're in pain. They can't do what they want to do. Like, that sucks. Now, empathy is where you've been through it yourself. You've dealt with an injury. You've gotten an injury fixed. You might have been heavier and unhealthy and you got it back. And empathy is where you can truly understand where that person's coming from and diving into that on like a deeper level and connecting with them. Because when you can be empathetic for other people, you show them that you're going to be able to help, that you can be a solution to help them get to the best place that they can be. So it's like developing more empathy, because there's a lot of people out there that want to be victims. They want to do stuff. They want these quick fixes, and they're victims across the board. And they've been ripped off. They've been scammed by people. They've blown a lot of money, and they need you to be understanding. And when they come in and they're like standoffish or they're not quite there, it's because they don't trust you, and they don't trust you because there's a lot of other jackasses out there. So slowing down, showing the benefits of what you're going to do, doing a functional based type of treatment and evaluation, showing people truly objective data that they're getting better, that's going to help you cultivate more empathy so you can actually help them. So that's all I got for today. But I always want to, when things get crazy, take a step back and really evaluate human nature, and really go get that book, Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. It is the most amazing book ever. It's the longest book you'll ever read, but it's the best book you can ever buy. It's going to help you in so many facets of your life, your business, your sanity, and really help you understand people so that you're not like, what the hell's going on? Am I crazy? It's like, no, the world's crazy and here's why they're crazy. And it makes sense. It's built into our DNA, built into our human nature. Also, check out our channels. I've been more active on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, podcast drops, all those things. And also reach out and get some of that free training. Still have that available for now. I'm eventually going to take that down because we got more coaching clients that have come through. And we're not going to have that free training available for much longer. So if you do want that free training, learning how to critically think, how to ask the right questions, how to become a solutions provider instead of a service provider, all the information's in the show notes. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the show. If you're a massage therapist and you want to learn more about our new methods that allow you to easily double your income without working any harder or getting burnout, we have some free resources for you. 1, join our Facebook group, The Soft Tissue Revolution. 2, subscribe to our YouTube channel. 3, request our free training series. 4, leave us a 5-star review and share this podcast with anyone else you know it can help. Links to all our channels and free training are in the show notes.